approach to plucking the bass. So you can incorporate more fingers later on, but everybody mostly uses 1 and 2, and it seems to be the simplest. And again, anchoring on a pickup is always a good technique for that. Okay, let's talk about the pick now. There's many different gauges, styles, many different manufacturers out there that make picks. I in particular like to use a medium heavy gauge pick, and I like to use a Tortex pick instead of plastic. The Tortex to me is a little more durable, it's a little bit stronger, and it doesn't slip out between my fingers because it has a little more grit to it. Now, when holding the pick, you want to hold the pick between your first finger and your thumb. You want to make sure that it's blocked in there and it's comfortable. And just like we discussed earlier with being comfortable with the instrument, you're going to want to find your own place back here where you want to anchor your pinky, which I often do underneath a string or on the pickup. And ultimately you want to be in a position where you can, if you pluck a little closer to the neck, you're going to have a deeper sound. If you pluck a little bit closer back here to the bridge, you're going to have a kind of a thinner, jazzier sound. So I like to be somewhere in the middle where I can find something that has a comfortable sound to it. Speaking of sound, let's do some playing. Let's go. A couple of other fundamentals that I want to go over are some scales. To start with, we're going to start with the major scale. And for any of you that may have taken any piano lessons, if you walk up to a piano, the first key that you're always going to be introduced to is the middle C, which is the middle of the keyboard. So on a bass guitar, a middle C is actually right up here on that note, which is the 5th fret on the G string. So our scale is going to go for 1 octave, meaning that we're going to play from the bottom up and then we're going to go from the top down. And this scale will sound like this. Now, in playing this scale, this is a scale that doesn't have any accidentals, meaning there's no sharps or flats. So start with your 2nd finger on the A string on the 3rd fret. Now, this shape that you're going to use, in other words, these fingers that are going to finger this scale, you can move this scale and this finger shape anywhere across the neck and be able to play a major scale. So as much as you're learning the music and the notes, you're also essentially learning a couple of cool little things right now which will help you in almost any setting be able to play with all kinds of people, because you'll be able to just move your hand around the neck. So here, why don't you play along with me, and we're going to take it real slow. And another thing that I'd really advise you to do if you don't have one handy is to get a metronome or a drum machine. And a metronome is essentially a timekeeper, and there is one available at rockhouse.method.com that you can download, that you can have. I would always, with these exercises, start slow, learn them, be solid with them, and then start speeding them up to challenge yourself. So let's start at a slow tempo here, and we'll start again, 2nd finger, 3rd fret on the A string. Now we'll go back down. There you have it, the major scale. Now, unlike the major scale, the minor scale always has a darker, more ethereal sound to it. And it's something that's very popular in metal and hard rock music because it gives a little darker tone to it. So it's an important scale to learn. Again, the finger shape that we're going to use, you can move this all over the neck and be able to play minor scales. First we started with a C major scale in the previous section. The relative minor to that is A minor. That right now isn't so much as important as actually learning the shape. Again, set your metronome to a slow tempo, and I'm going to play it for you first so that you actually know what it sounds like. Here we go, in A minor. So to get started with this, again, we're going to use 1 finger for each fret. So we're going to start with our first finger on the 5th fret of the 4th string, which is the E string. Again, set your metronome at a slow tempo, and let's take a stab at it here. there it is, the minor scale. Now we get down to finally doing some playing. You've learned some basic techniques that'll help you get your hands comfortable on the neck, learning how to pick and pluck back here. This is the figure that I was just playing. Is something that you can do. It's a real simple first baseline, and it only uses one string, and you only have to use 2 fingers essentially up here on the neck. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start out playing on the A string, which is the 3rd string. We're going to use our first finger on the 3rd fret, which is our C, and we're going to use our 3rd finger to go up to the 5th fret, which is a D. And we're just going to cycle through that. Now with the picking hand, what we're going to do, in this case it's hitting on the 1, 2, 3, 4. With the bass drum now coming in, which is hitting on the 1 and the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the snare drum is going to come in, and that's going to be hitting on the 2 and the 4. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4. Bass, drum, snare,